Hey guys, this is Bomb from KTG. Today we're talking about one of Metalstorm's most iconic light fighters, the F-16. I've got a video all about the F-16 for you today. Among Metalstorm players, opinions on the F-16 are pretty split. For newer players, the jet feels responsive and snappy, but the low health pool makes it really tough to take hits from attackers, missiles, or gun runs. So some players call it a rough ride, but on the other hand, top players actually consider the F-16 the best jet in Metalstorm. I hadn't flown it much myself, but after putting in a lot of hours with it recently, I have to say I agree with the veterans, at least to a good extent. So let's dig into what makes it so good. I'll break it down using real match footage and some short gameplay clips. Today I've got 3 clips to show you. First, an air superiority match with F-16V's Su-57 in a zone control battle. Second, a 5v5 air superiority match in Crimson Canyon. And finally, an F-16 versus F-16 1v1 match. And last but not least, I want to share something I've been working on. What if we started activating 1v1 practice matches or tournaments here in Korea? I'm not sure how many people would be interested in that. 5v5 team play is a blast, but 1v1, 2v2, or 3v3 custom matches like these are also a great way to sharpen your skills and build experience. I'm really into this idea. So I'll wrap up the video by sharing my plans and thoughts on organizing 1v1 practice matches or a tournament. Alright, the first clip is from Stormbreak and F-16 versus Su-57 Air Superiority Zone Control match. Both jets have excellent maneuverability. Watch how the match unfolds as these two fight over a single zone. It's a great showcase of how a dogfight develops. The key thing to watch in this clip is speed and fuel management. Pay attention to how well each jet maintains speed during turns, and how they handle fuel efficiency. Comparing these two jets on those points is going to be really insightful. All right, let's take a look. This is Bomb YG's F-16 on this side, and the opponent's Felon over here. We're in Stormbreak, going head-to-head over Zone C. You can see the Su-57 up ahead. I tried to sneak in and cap the zone early, but the angle wasn't right, so it pulled out. I broke away to get outside the Felon's firing range, and now I'm looping back around. Whenever you're in a sustained turn, maintaining speed within the optimal turning range is absolutely critical. The Felon is coming up behind me, so I'm cutting away to stay out of his line of fire and continue turning. Keep circling, maintain that speed. Let's see how well each jet holds its speed through the turns. If your speed drops and you can't hit the optimal turn angle for your jet, you're going to be at a serious disadvantage. Now we're locked into a turning battle with each other. There's no backing out here, so you have to keep riding. The tightest cornering line your jet can handle. I picked off an F-15 on the side and got back in. We're both chasing tails, fighting over the zone, but the key here is to not get greedy and go all in for a kill. Fundamentally, the Felon has a faster turn rate than the F-16. So the F-16 can't easily take down the Felon. But where the F-16 has the edge is in fuel management. The Felon is already running on fumes and struggling to keep up its turns, while the F-16 can maintain optimal speed through turns with fuel still nearly full. The F-16's sustained turn rate is more than twice as good as the Felon's. The F-16 sustains around 10 seconds, while the Felon is down around 4 seconds. So even though the Su-57 has excellent overall performance, when it comes to prolonged turning fights like this, fuel management becomes a serious problem for sustained turn rate. After a few more circles, the F-16 has already grabbed the tail of the Su-57, and just like that, the match is over. The key takeaway here is that these two jets have slightly different performance characteristics. So the F-16 has a tighter turn radius than the Su-57, but a slower instantaneous turn rate, while having a clear advantage in sustained turning ability. Also, the terrain structures in Metalstorm maps feel almost tailor-made for the way the F-16 turns. You really get the sense that the F-16 is threading tightly through terrain features in a way most jets can't. So in turning fights like this, the F-16 has a real edge over other jets. And that's what we just got to see here. The second clip is a 5v5 air superiority match from Crimson Canyon. Bomb YG is flying the F-16, and yeah, you'll recognize some of the names in there. That's the Grim Reaper squad, a full 5-man party. I queued in solo and ended up on the opposing side going against them. Looking at the lineup, my team has 2 F-16s, 1 F-1, 1 Delta Dart, and 1 Mirage M3. Against us, the Grim Reapers are running F-16, Raptor, Typhoon 3 high maneuverability jets plus Su-47 and MiG-21. Both teams are loaded up with agile, high-performance jets rather than slow heavies, so I don't think either side has a significant lineup advantage. This is a full level 20 upgraded match. I'd been flying the F-16 stock for a while, but I finally upgraded it to level 20 recently. After equipping DDT, the maneuverability got noticeably better. For air superiority, it's pretty common to run DDT and disruptive flares on the F-16. Or you can go with a thrust booster for faster speed and agility. It's honestly hard to say which one is better. When you run the thrust booster and are moving at high speed, head-on encounters where you really wish you had disruptive flares do come up, and ultimately it comes down to your playstyle. Just equip the upgrade tokens that work best for you. I was pushing toward the red zone when Iran into an Su-47. Going in straight would have gotten me shot down, so I took a wider angle to avoid it. When capturing a zone, you can't always just fly in directly. Especially when enemy jets are waiting to ambush, sometimes you need to clear them out first. A Typhoon got on my tail, but I popped disruptive flares and managed to secure the zone. Over here, the Grim Reaper's Typhoon Isolo defending the blue zone. Looking at the F-16 and Typhoon side by side, both have their pros and cons. The Typhoon is also a highly maneuverable jet. That said, the Typhoon's sustained turn rate isn't great either, similar to the Raptor or Felon, but the Typhoon has a fuel resupply special ability, so it can compensate for its poor sustained turn rate by burning extra fuel to keep turning. It also has great nose authority, and as a delta wing design, it can slow down and pull a 20% higher turn rate. It's definitely one of the more capable maneuvering jets. After dying at the red zone fight, I'm heading back to try for Zone B again. I spotted a fish bed and Su-47 coming up from behind, so I immediately broke upward to evade. That's Moth's fish bed and Strap's Su-47 you can see there. The Su-47 does have a turning-related special ability, but in terms of raw maneuverability, it's quite a bit below the F-16. In a 1v1 situation like that, the F-16 can grab a very favorable position. There's a Typhoon up ahead, and in a head-on situation like this, not having disruptive flares really hurts. Without disruptive flares, you can get shot down just like that. So while the thrust booster is great if you're playing in tight, contested zones where head-on engagements are common, disruptive flares are probably the better pick. We keep circling around the horizontal pillar, fighting over zone control. Score is 101 to 103. Pretty tight, right? The players from the DoD squad on our team are skilled in their own right, but since we didn't form up as a party, coordination can be a little rough. Still, individually, they're solid players. So we're keeping up with Grim Reapers without getting steamrolled, popping disruptive flares. I dodged the Typhoon's gun, but got taken out by a well-timed missile. Score is 137 to 113. We're up by about 20 points now. So in air superiority, whether it's Zone B, A, or C, the F-16 covers all the bases with its high maneuverability and sustained turn rate. It's a true jack-of-all-trades in air superiority. On top of that, the F-16 has the flare reload special ability, so even in prolonged flare wars, you're never really hurting for flares. Other light fighters typically have around 3 flares, right? That creates a lot of stress around flare shortages. Burning even a single flare to counter an enemy missile becomes a real burden. I keep fighting for Zone B, and I try to take down Moth's fishbed, but I miss. Then I get shot down by the enemy. Score is 180 to 150, so we've got about a 30-point lead, but I'm not sure we can hold on to it. Personally, I find Zone B and Crymson Canyon Air Superiority really difficult top lay. The zone sits deep at the bottom of a canyon, so tracking enemy positions from the minimap alone is incredibly hard. The minimap only shows horizontal position. But in this zone, jets are constantly looping up and down, so keeping proper situational awareness is demanding. And when an enemy suddenly pops up on the minimap, it's really hard to instantly tell whether they're above or below you. And just like that, we won the air superiority match. It wasn't just me, my teammates played great too, and our teamwork came together at the right moment. And Bomb YG even snagged the MVP. So yeah, the F-16 is absolutely viable in air superiority. A lot of top players are using the F-16 right now, and honestly, it's a really solid jet. The snappy agility and high sustained turn rate really make it stand out as a great jet. Alright, let's move on to the next clip. The third video is a 1v1 gameplay match in Crymson Canyon. We're running Team Deathmatch mode, and both of us are in F-16s. My opponent is Skybull from the Rockpile squad. If you've gone up against this guy before, you know he's a very skilled pilot. I've had 1v1 practice sessions with him and picked up a lot of gameplay advice. It's been really helpful. So I just want to take a moment to say thank you again. I've done 1v1 matches a fair amount, and they play out in different ways. You can do it in Team Deathmatch mode, or focus on Zone B control in Air Superiority mode, and when you play 1v1, you completely remove the team element. Everything your maneuvers, your positioning, your decisions all falls on you alone, which makes it way more intense and nerve-wracking compared to team play. But that also means you get a ton of practice out of it. In team play, your teammates can cover for your weaknesses. So it becomes hard to tell whether you won because you played well or because your team carried you. When you're running with a strong team, you can feel like you're some kind of pro, but the moment you try 1v1, trust me, I felt this myself, it's like being completely exposed. Wait, am I really this bad? My skills are this lacking? These are areas I need to work on. I need to practice this more. You really get to feel all of that laid bare. Right now, we're deep into a turning battle in 1v1. One of the most important things is to constantly maintain a 3D read on the enemy's position. Just staring at the minimap won't tell you if the enemy is above or below you, so keeping the enemy in your visual field is really important. And as you're moving, you want to be constantly maneuvering at maximum turn rate so that when you do meet the enemy, you're always working to grab a favorable position or a kill angle. Since we're both in the same jet, our performance stats are identical. That means I have to win through better movement and decision-making than my opponent, which honestly put a lot of pressure on me and kept my nerves high throughout. I catch glimpses of the enemy jet here and there, but there's no obvious opening to exploit. They're flying really well. And it's the same thing here whether you're in a 1v1 or any other mode. The most critical factors are speed maintenance and fuel management. Keeping those dialed in lets you sustain peak performance, chase tails, and escape cleanly. I was trying to block Skybull from regening health, but I let him slip away, and with 3 minutes left, We're back to square one. Moments when the enemy disappears from sight are really tense. In those situations, one good approach is to gain some altitude. Get a wider view from up high. And then descend while scanning for the enemy's position before diving back in. Where are you hiding? I can barely catch a glimpse on the minimap. Another important point, even when you can't see the enemy, keep turning at maximum rate and stay active. If you're not pushing your jet's peak performance and then suddenly the enemy shows up, they're going to get a free shot or a kill angle on you very easily. Same right now, weave through the terrain, keep turning at maximum angle. As I mentioned, the key is speed. You need to stay within the optimal turn radius, speed range, top all the best possible turn angle. You have to keep a constant eye on it. When you're first starting out, you can look at the speedometer to dial it in. Watching the enemy, checking the minimap, and monitoring speed all at once is a lot. But once you get more comfortable, hitting the right speed becomes second nature. It happens instinctively in your hands. With 1 minute 35 seconds left, it's still 0-0. We're both still circling, each trying to grab a kill angle, and neither of us is making it easy. We keep flashing across each other's minimap as we grind hard trying to get behind one another. While we were turning, I made a bad call here. Wait, that's not right. Now I've got someone on my tail. I'm watching this as I'm running away, so the jet was turning in this direction, right? But here I turned the opposite way. This was the biggest judgment error of Deathmatch. Here's what I mean when you're both at max turn rate and the enemy has eyes on your position. If you suddenly reverse direction, you're handing them an easy kill angle. You know what I mean, right? What I should have done is kept turning in the same direction to stay positioned. By making that one wrong turn decision, I gave my opponent my 6 easy, which means, thinking about it in reverse, the reason neither of us could get on each other's tail for the past 3 to 4 minutes is because we were both doing a great job of not giving up kill angles.
Eso oye.
And finally, let me go over the plans and ideas I mentioned at the start about 1v1 match play. Now, 1v1 play is not really content for beginners. For newer players, there's still a ton to enjoy in the regular game, leveling up your jets, gaining team play experience, all of that outside of custom matches. But for players who are already comfortable with Metalstorm and have plenty of match experience, if you're someone who's really into 1v1, and you want to get more 1v1 matches in, build your experience and skills, and maybe even enter a tournament down the line, you're exactly who I'm talking to. If that sounds like you, please send me a DM in-game. The most important thing first is building up a large enough player pool. We've been trying to get this going within KTG Squad, but everyone has different interests, and not everyone is into 1v1. Just our squad alone isn't enough to fill a proper player pool. So the idea is to go beyond squad lines and bring in anyone who's interested. Build a community, practice together, and eventually hold tournaments. If enough Koreans get involved, we might even be able to organize exchanges and scrimmages with strong foreign squads. That's the big dream I'm working toward. So let's get the interested players together, play and practice individually. And if we need a communication space, we can always set up a Kakao Talk open chat or something, but first step. If you're interested, send me a DM. Today I covered the F-16 with a full breakdown of its gameplay. I hope you enjoyed it. This has been Bomb YG from KTG. Thanks for watching.